Imagine reaching the end of your life, looking back and saying,
None of this makes any logical sense on the left side of my brain. My philosophy is go for it, enjoy.
But do you believe in God?
I feel like I get older day after day. Anyway, all of this is a miracle. My heart keeps beating. My motor functions are still working while I feel relatively sane. But what I know is that I know nothing. I think I'm agnostic.
An agnostic is someone who is halfway between an atheist and a believer. While the atheist doesn't believe in deities, and the believer affirms their existence. The agnostic believes that there isn't enough evidence either to prove the existence of God or to deny his existence. And it's precisely because of this lack of definition that many people criticize agnosticism.
Personally, I think the agnostic is an atheist who hasn't come out of the closet, someone who just sits on the fence.
It's normal to think that way. The world always demands answers. We're taught to pick a side, to take a definitive stance on everything, as if being certain was a synonym for intelligence, while admitting we don't know is seen as a weakness. In my view, this thinking only distances us from our true feelings. To say that an agnostic is someone who is sitting on the fence, in my view, that's what makes our beliefs something crude, as if they were a soccer team you choose to root for. It's almost a childish way of thinking. Having to pick a jersey, wanting to show others that you belong to a group, but belief has nothing to do with others. It's something personal. It's simply about being true to what you believe in.
We live in a world full of ignorance, limited collective thinking, and political correctness. People feel they must have an opinion on everything.
And I might even be criticized for what I'm about to say now. But looking at it coldly, agnosticism, among the most well-known perspectives, seems to me to be the most coherent, given what we have around us. And here, it's worth making it clear that when I say more coherent, I'm not trying to say correct, better, or anything like that. What I'm arguing is that no perspective has the answer. It's all just a belief, an act of faith. Given that, the perspective that makes the most sense to me is the one that keeps mystery completely open. And even though I'm calling agnosticism a perspective here, I'm only treating it that way because the world demands labels. But in essence, it's not a fixed position, it's simply the stance of a free thinker.
I don't associate myself with movements, I think for myself.
Our starting point in this life is chaos. We are born into a world that is as vast as it is mysterious. And faced with this scenario, our restless, desperate mind tirelessly tries to understand the incomprehensible trembling.
We have a need to understand an incomprehensible world, an insatiable need to try to find out where is the answer, where is the truth.
This is an attempt to calm the anguish in the face of the void, an attempt to find something that fills the unknown. And, as a result of this constant effort, what were initially supposed to be just assumptions and beliefs end up becoming stories, dogmas, and narratives. But the agnostic goes the other way. He accepts the dilemma. He isn't skeptical enough to deny something greater, nor credulous enough to accept any simple explanation. He's someone who, faced with all the existential questions at some point in life, stopped and asked himself, what if we didn't need to answer everything? What if those answers are beyond our reach? Or even, what if there are no answers at all? Anyone who sees this as indifference is mistaken. It's simply showing humility in the face of mystery. It's letting go of the desperate attempt to decipher the world, so we can simply walk through it, interpreting its signs without carrying the burden of other people's answers. This is where you discover that being open is more important than clinging to an explanation. The agnostic accepts no conclusion without clear evidence and is open to changing his mind when new evidence appears.
If you're certain you're dead, certainty destroys people. Hitler killed 40 million because he was certain. Stalin killed millions of his own, also out of certainty, because he knew. Nobody knows, and the best way to live is to live constantly in doubt.
This discussion gets even more interesting when we get into this matter of doubt. Doubt is the basis of agnosticism. And where am I getting at? It's that although many people don't think this way, this should be the basis of any belief or faith. Having doubts is human. If we didn't have doubts, faith wouldn't be necessary at all.
Our faith is something alive, precisely because it walks hand in hand with doubt. If there were only certainty and no doubt, there would be no mystery and therefore no need for faith.
In this sense, this is one of the most interesting interviews of Anthony Hopkins. Watch how he leaves the interviewer completely confused.
You said you don't believe...
I didn't say that.
You said agnostic.
Well, what is an agnostic? Someone who may have doubts.
Hopkins was talking about when he played Pope Benedict XVI and made a point of showing a more human side, with doubts and uncertainties. I don't know.
Do you think Benedict XVI, had doubts?
Of course he did. Any smart person would.
But isn't the principle of faith not having doubts?
In doubt lives humility. If you're sure you're dead, I don't know who I am, where I'm from, where I'm going, or what created me.
But you put those values and thoughts into your character.
Well, that's because I do what I do.
Even if your character is very religious, he's still the authority.
The interviewer doesn't seem to understand. He gets uncomfortable, stuck in theories and what everyone says, while Hopkins tries to take him further, but without success.
But doesn't doubt instill fear in the hearts of religious people?
He continues the interview stuck, unable to dive into the actor's ideas. What I really like about this interview is that it illustrates the clash between a person who is taught what to think and another who is simply conveying his truth. Usually when that happens, people just look at me like, what is this lunatic talking about? To me, that just shows how, in general, we're stuck with stereotypes and shallow ideas. And we get bothered and judged when someone goes against these rigid ways of thinking and tries to take us further. Quickly, in a conversation, you can tell who are the people who have really questioned life and who are the ones who just accepted the answers that are out there. What I value in those who question themselves and explore life deeply is that despite some differences, they generally reach a certain harmony of thought. I call it the third dimension, a space where people free themselves from restraints and preset ideas to look at life in a more direct way. And it was with this in mind that I wrote my series, The Key to the Three Dimensions, A Journey, where I make you question yourself. 10 episodes let you dive into life as it is and see, beyond the conditioning and baggage we carry without even realizing it, this is the best invitation I have for you. If you're interested, I put this 3-minute video here on YouTube, where I tell you everything you need to know. But going back to Anthony Hopkins, he is someone who, after a youth of staunch atheism, found in agnosticism a more honest way to relate to existence. The actor decided to embrace doubt and found a kind of enchantment in it.
I don't know anything. All I know is that there is a mystery greater than I can comprehend in my life.
For him, life is magical because we can't explain it, because it happens in ways we can't fully understand. And what I like about his way of thinking is the way he sees and faces this mystery.
When I was a boy, I dreamed of being where I am now. It might have been a vision, I don't know. Memorable things have happened in my life just by wishing or asking for a little help here. I don't believe I'm agnostic. Is there anyone who can help me? Something inside us responds, I truly believe.
He's always talking about believing not in religions, dogmas, or some ready-made answer, but in life.
It doesn't matter if you're atheist, agnostic, or something else. Just believe in the power of life.
Hopkins presents himself as living proof that belief can shape your reality. William James, a pioneer of modern psychology, argued that our worldview shapes the way we experience life. If we believe that everything is empty and meaningless, our life is likely to be that way too. What we believe changes our experience of the world.
Whatever you want to do, play the game of belief. From an old fool like me, it worked for me and will work for you.
It's hard to explain how these things happen, but that's not necessary. Describing the universe in our own terms is futile. Our words, symbols, and equations can never fully explain it. What is left for us to feel?
I think there is a higher consciousness within us that we tap into at certain moments. Sometimes I believe that whatever this thing is that we've been talking about for centuries, I think it's inside us.
Maybe that's the most interesting idea in Hopkins's thinking. Those rare moments of connection with something greater come and go instantly, like a dream that fades upon waking, before we can translate it into words. Notable figures such as Carl Jung and Alan Watts have discussed these moments, like rare flashes of clarity, where we stop feeling like isolated individuals and glimpse the interconnectedness of everything. Rumi once said, You are not just a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. This quote suggests that the separation between the individual and the whole is just an illusion. We are parts of something immense, but that whole is also within us. And in rare moments, we are able to feel this truth, even if we don't fully understand what it means. The verses of Omar Khayyam, which Hopkins loves to quote in his interviews, clearly demonstrate what I'm trying to say.
There was the door for which I could not find the key. There was a veil through which I could not see. Only brief conversations between you and me. Then no one spoke of you or me anymore.
This poem, at first, may not say much, but when you dive into it, it becomes quite enlightening. The door can represent access to deep knowledge, ultimate truth, or understanding existence's mystery. The absence of the key symbolizes the difficulty of reaching this understanding, suggesting that certain mysteries of life remain unattainable for human beings, regardless of our efforts to reach them. The veil symbolizes something that blocks vision, possibly separating the human from the divine, the known from the unknown, or illusion from reality. It symbolizes the temptations of human perception in the face of the infinite. The very brief conversations, as I understand them, are the fleeting moments of connection or understanding that we achieve. That's what Anthony Hopkins means by reaching a higher level of consciousness. Sometimes these are moments when we come into contact with something we might consider divine, but these moments are very brief and are interrupted before we can reach something deeper. The last verse deals with ending the search, which I view as surrendering to existence's mystery, coming to the conclusion that regardless of our dialogues and attempts to understand this universe, in the end, we will always encounter silence, a silence that we either accept or become frustrated with. And I don't think the mistake lies in believing or not believing, but in thinking that we know more than we actually do. And when I started thinking this way, I freed myself from the need to solve the mystery of the universe, and I accepted living within it. Today, it's the compass of curiosity that guides me in this life. And I think that the very act of searching can be more revealing than any definitive answer. Whatever you believe in, don't close your eyes to the experience of life. Keep them open, because if something extraordinary happens, the last thing you'll want is to have your eyes closed.